Welcome to Evil Live, the live media commentary show that answers the question. I didn't update that part of my monologue. That answers the question, why didn't they violate the girl in the elevator with the cables?
Dude.
Because I was expecting it.
Right, I was waiting for it.
All right, well, subscribe if you're new to the channel, because today we are reviewing Evil Dead Rise. Rise! So the log line of Evil Dead Rise is a twisted tale of two estranged sisters whose reunion is cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons, thrusting them into a primal battle of survival as they face the most nightmarish version of family imaginable. And that's exactly what we got, actually.
Yeah,
It's
straight up.
Great log line. All right, so this is directed and written by Lee Cronin. And what do you think, man? What are your initial thoughts of this?
I dug it. I was pretty happy with it. I was a little nervous because I hadn't heard anything bad about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that can't be right. And yeah, no, it was pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I was sitting on the couch, and my wife and I were watching some mindless fucking show, and we were just openly discussing the film and like our thoughts about why it felt different, but it felt so the same. What was sort of standing out there, rubbing against us a little bit, like a cheese grater to the leg, for example. Just
that was great.
Sort of heavy on your mind. Like, I can't stop thinking about it. And I think what's keeping me engaged with Evil Dead Rise, and also a little bit bothering me, is that they used kids in an exploitive way.
Yeah. I was very surprised by that, because that was blatantly different than the original films, the 2013 requel, I guess. And I didn't even think about it until I saw your little initial thoughts video. And then it's like, fuck, that's right. We haven't had kids in this. Like, we've had like teenagers, but not like children.
Yeah, like horror films have always been set up as this sort of trope where teenagers who engage in sex or drugs, or it's a Grimm's fairy tale situation. You do a bad thing that society sees as bad, and you will be punished for it. And so that's what horror films and short horror stories has always been about. And they set it up in this differently, because these kids weren't doing anything different. They weren't doing anything bad. Teenagers, fuck them. They've had their chance.
I mean, not traditionally bad. They didn't fuck. They didn't do drugs.
Right.
But Danny was a fucking douchebag. So,
first of all, his haircut was a douchebag.
Yeah,
his haircut was its own entity. It was so bad.
Just why? I don't understand how mullets are fucking coming back.
Weird. It's just so weird. Yeah, the whole time anytime he was on screen, live or dead, I was just like, "Fuck you, I don't like you."
Right.
It's all because of his hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The kids. First of all, let's just say, Cassie was amazing. The littlest, tiniest daughter. To get kids to act, you can't even get most adults to act. So to get kids to act is next level cool shit.
Yeah.
Like, just great. And I thought, even though I didn't necessarily like each of these kids, I thought they all did a great job.
No, they did. They did do great. Like, I don't think they were necessarily supposed to be likable. If they were, they failed. Yeah. But, like, it was some pretty, like, sound performances.
Yeah. So the show is not a sequel. It's not a reimagining. It's not, a fucking redo of anything. It's just another story. And I thought the way that they sort of presented that was when they were saying that there was 3 books of the dead, and this was just one of them. And so we know in this sort of Evil Dead universe, the Ash Williams Book of the Dead is one, and that plays through even to the remake in the 2013 remake, because that was just a remake of the original Evil Dead. So that's one. This was 2. Do you think they're going to explore a 3rd Book of the Dead sometime?
I really hope so. Because the thing is, like, it seems like it's pretty fucking successful. Yeah. So hopefully they will make another one. And then, tie them all together even. Because, like, that's the thing is 2013, it was a great movie.
Yeah.
I mean, especially nowadays, of course, like everybody's, oh yeah, no, it's great. Initially, it wasn't great. Most people hated it because, oh, there's not Bruce Campbell in it. And it's like, but it was supposed to be different.
Yeah.
And Bruce Campbell's in it. You get fucking Ash Williams at the end, so fuck off. But I think with this being as successful as it was, we're definitely going to see more.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. The thing is I see this very much, the Evil Dead franchise, like I see Hellraiser. I don't need a story continuity. I just need random moments of someone opening the lament configuration and fucking shit, Cenobites are just going to tear you apart. Like that's all I need. If you want to wrap it around a sort of allegory about you being a bad person and hence bad things come back to you, fine, whatever. They did that a lot in the later films. I don't care. Just give me random fucking Hellraiser. In the same way, just give me random Book of the Dead. Like we played a really sort of goofy, cheesy role-playing game, but I loved that it's a concept that you can just sort of drop into whatever and just have fun with it. And as long as you're paying homage to some of those, you know, sort of staple imagery or lines or ideas, well, then I'm good. Like,
and that's need it. Like they did so well with this is like they did plenty of nods to the original films, but if you've never seen an Evil Dead movie before, cool, you just saw your first one. You're not going to take anything less away. So I think they did that pretty well.
Yeah. I wasn't as scared as I was in 2013's.
That was a much darker movie. Like this one, I mean, it was dark. The makeup was fucking terrifying, but it, even in the moments of pure terror, it still had that lighthearted, you know, kind of giggle aspect of it. Like it was a lot like Evil Dead 2 in that sense. But yeah, it was 2013 was just a straight up fucking horror movie.
Yeah. I mean, which is one of the reasons why I loved it so much, because I feel uncomfortable watching it, especially like the claustrophobic moments of like her crawling under the ground into the shed. That really gets me, or under the fucking Jeep or whatever it was.
Yeah.
In this, there were moments where you're tense, but it was always cut with the levity, and it reminds me of Evil Dead 1, where Ash's girlfriend was just giggling when she was connected. There was a lot of laughing in this film, and it was one of the elements. Like, first of all, it was like a Mr. Belvedere situation, where it was just like this wacky family adventure that just happens to be in Evil Dead. And I'm saying it flippantly, intentionally, but I did actually enjoy watching the film. I enjoyed the film. But that's one of the elements that really sort of forced me out of feeling scared. And the thing is about these remakes is I love Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness for the slapstick. I don't love it because it's a good horror film. This is presenting the face, and they were presenting sort of goofiness. This is presenting a horror face, and then you're giving me a lot of goofy and slapsticky stuff. Like, I thought the eyeball was too much. How did you?
Oh, I didn't. I thought it was hilarious. I fucking giggled. Like, the thing is, this franchise in particular lends itself to that shit. So it doesn't take me out. Now, if something like that would have been in 2013, that would have ruined the movie.
Yeah.
Because it didn't have that sense of humor. This did from the get-go. So it's like, shit like that was excusable.
That's interesting. I didn't feel that vibe, that sort of silly vibe from the beginning. As soon as it happened, I was like punched in the face. I was like, whoa. Okay, yeah, this is Evil Dead again. I just forgot for a minute. Like, I totally
see. That's funny because it's like the very beginning where the girl gets scalped.
Yeah,
like that. I was laughing my ass off. I was like, there we go. There's the Evil Dead over the top gore. Awesome, and that just kind of set it all up for me.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, for some reason it didn't land that way with me, and so when I did see it, I was just sort of taken aback. And then all of the laughing throughout the whole thing, like, I get it. You want to be a menacing demon inhabiting a human body and fucking with it. That's your game. I get it. No shame. But it's a little too much sometimes. Like, I don't want to hear a whole film of giggling. Like, fuck's sake, scare me. Stop giggling.
Well, I don't know. It kind of goes with the whole idea of a Deadite. Like, they're fucking shitheads that are annoying. They're gonna kill you and brutally, but they're just annoying pricks first and foremost.
Yeah. I
So
appreciate
that didn't bother me too much.
I think my favorite, and I'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on this. My favorite element of this entire film was Stephanie.
Yeah, 100%
Fucking Stephanie.
and especially when she actually uses Stephanie to fucking take out a monster. Like, that was fucking amazing. Like, and I don't care. The thing is, again, this is one of those franchises that lends itself to, you know, certain things being excused.
Yeah.
And they had that shit practical in her mouth and then an apparatus on the back of her head. And when she turned, it ended up looking like this. It was okay. Anything else, I would have been like, nah, bullshit. You're fucking up the magic. It's sort of like with It Chapter 1, like when Homeboy breaks his arm, it's like, God, that's a bad fake arm. And that, took me out of the movie the first time I watched it. It was like, no, whatever, that's fine. It's an Evil Dead movie.
Yeah. I didn't notice either of those examples. Like, at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's funny. Yeah, I had no idea, man. No, I gotta go watch it again. I've wanted to watch it again since I saw it the first time. I was just like, oh, I can't stop thinking about it. It's just one of those films.
It's bad. When Homeboy falls through the ceiling and breaks his arm, you can clearly see stump like this and then fake arm right here. It's so bad. Even on, even watching it on television versus a big screen, it's still pretty noticeable.
Damn. Man.
Yeah.
You have to check it out. I'm looking at my notes here because there's so much that Lee Cronin shoved in here as homages, like all of the characters' names.
The one fucking thing, though, the one fucking thing he didn't do. Where the fuck was the classic?
Yeah,
you're gonna tell me Sam Raimi, who is helping consult on this, couldn't give you the fucking classic for 5 seconds to do like an exterior shot? Like, fuck. When the kids are driving around and shit, I'm thinking, all right, we're probably going to see a Delta in the parking garage or on the street or something.
I thought they were going to be driving it.
I didn't think that, because that just would have been too much, I think. I mean, I would have laughed, but...
The eyeball's enough. But the car's a bridge too far.
But yeah, where the fuck was the classic? Shit.
It's just weird. It feels, I don't know, a little hollow. Like, he put that in like Spider-Man.
It has been in everything. It is so much ingrained with the franchise that even I forget what the song is, but there's a Strapping Young Lad music video that's loosely based on Evil Dead. It's fucking Evil Dead. They're ripping it off, but it was loosely based on it for legality. The fucking Delta was in that. Like, shit.
It's pretty fucked up.
Or wait, was the Delta in there? But still, it was something that it's like, why? Okay, cool. You got the boomstick. You got the chainsaw. You got the outfits even. Where the fuck is the Delta? It could have even been like a toy in the house. So Chris, basically it was a Delta 88, just a shitty yellow Delta. And it was Sam Raimi's car, and it was featured in almost every movie that he's made since Evil Dead.
Yeah, it was in the fucking Marvel, the Madness one with the Doctor Strange guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was even in that. Like, of every single film, fucking Bruce Campbell was in that. Like, every film that Raimi's involved with, it's just his, like, little nod. Like, hey, this is what I got. Yeah. It was like Hitchcock showing up in his own pictures. It was just like, before that was a thing, you were just like, whoa, oh my gosh, that's him.
Yeah, before Hitchcock was showing up in his own movies, Sam Raimi was using the Delta.
It's true. It's true. Oh, man. All right, well, let's see. The film itself, it's just that classic Evil Dead trope. Mm-hmm. Someone finds the book. Their curiosity leads to them reading out loud or hearing a recording of it out loud instead of it being a tape recorder. In this particular case, it's a record. And And we get a little bit of Bruce Campbell in it too.
Punch that fucking kid so bad. Like, okay.
If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have this at all.
Well, no, not because of that. Because of the fact that he's an asshole, this happened. But I fucking hate it when and this is just me being a snooty, pretentious douchebag, but like when you're holding a fucking record just with your bare hands, not like carefully on the edges, I just want to punch you in your fucking throat so bad. And then the whole, 33's too slow. 45's too slow. Oh, I'll just spin it with my finger. Motherfucker, turn it up to 78. There's 3 settings for a fucking reason. Those are my only 2 bitch fits.
All right. Yeah, I thought the manually moving it around was ridiculous. Like you can hone that in. Like you said, just fucking go to the next setting on your fucking record player. That was a little bit weird. I did like that it was a whole new recording of a whole new like random priest group, and I love the sort of the A and B, the before and after, where it's always like, I just discovered this amazing ancient tome. I can't wait to dive in. There's got to have great recipes in it. And then like you come in afterward and it's like, my family is dead. I had to burn my wife. And like, it's always like super sad and depressing. And we got that, like everything about it, even the book itself being wildly different, not just in the casing and the fucking weird, crazy teeth, but even the interior look of it. Like every Evil Dead film has a completely different looking Book of the Dead.
Yeah.
Every time. How did you like this one? Did you like the teeth, the clasp?
Oh yeah, I loved it. It was it was fucking cool. I definitely want it on my shelf next to my other Necronomicon.
Yeah. It was a little Venus flytrappy.
See, I got Harry Potter from it.
Okay.
Definitely. But I fucking loved it.
Did the music sound Hellraiser to you, or is it just me?
No, it did.
The whole time, like it started, I was just like, wait a second, what? What?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't akin to, the first 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's, I don't remember how I was describing it. Whatever, I'm not even gonna try to remember. Yeah, it was very different though.
Yeah.
Say that.
Like they did a clear homage to The Shining, Kubrick's The Shining film.
Yeah, that was
the bloody elevator, which was
beautiful.
Awesome. But there was also like different camera techniques that they used that were very The Shining, and it wasn't enough to pull me out of the film, but it was enough for me to go like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing, Mm-hmm. So like when you're watching one of these, like especially like an Evil Dead film, do you like it because of those nods to the audience, or you just like it because it's a fun film and you appreciate those nods?
Definitely the latter. Like I don't. It doesn't have to wink at the camera.
Yeah.
But when it does, it's okay.
Yeah, a perfect example would be like this film or Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness compared to 2013's Evil Dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that was not pulling any punches. It was what it was. You're just gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah.
That's why I love it so much. That's what you get with this deal. Yeah, I love that Bruce Campbell did a little cameo in that recording, and that was a sort of a callback to something that they want to do of create this sort of more cohesive Evil Dead verse where all the films are not separate. Like you have your original 3 and then 2013's, and this is supposed to be also separate from 2013's and the original. So I can't remember where I was going with this other than to say that like I don't need it all to be connected all together, but because they threw Bruce Campbell's voice in here as if he was the Bruce traveling back in time, through time, going, it's the fucking evil, it's the Book of the Dead, it's evil, you can't read from that. Like that's an effort to then wrap it right back into the shrink-wrapped universe again. Yeah. Where I don't need it connected, but I kind of dig that it could be.
Well, and I love what it set up too, because it was what year? It was 1923, I think it was. So we got Ash Williams in 1923 or roundabout there. So it's like, what that could potentially set up is fantastic. Like, let's see Evil Dead universe in that time frame, like right before he shows up, like the building of that. Like, I love what this movie set up for potential future movies.
Yeah. I also just like the idea, like, if you're this evil entity that is forcing ancient Kandarians to write books of the dead to summon you back into the real world, why would you hedge all your bets on just one? It just makes sense that you would spread the seed, man. Go all over.
Absolutely.
Like, I love that idea. So there's different books of the dead. There's different universes that may or may not be completely connected with this Book of the Dead. All it did was make me want to fucking play a role-playing game again.
God, I know. That's all I kept thinking the whole time. It's like, God, didn't we take out this fucking book? What the shit?
We already did this. I was a little bit disappointed after the film, and I was like, that little girl didn't try to crawl into any woman's vagina.
That was kind of disappointing.
That's fucked up.
Although I will say the Rat King at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was great.
Rat King. That was it. Yeah, absolutely. That's funny. I didn't think of it in that terms.
Well, so for me, it was like straight up like, oh, hey, cool. I'm watching The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, okay. There's a Rat King.
That's kind of like, yeah, there's a Rat King.
All right.
And it's in a parking garage.
Hell yeah. So, they just copied the whole goddamn thing.
Yeah. Not as scary, but pretty fucking good.
I think this film doesn't sit really well with me because it wasn't full camp or it wasn't full horror. It was just this weird middle ground that I feel like all of the Evil Deads, like none of them were as slapsticky as Army of Darkness, but all of them were pretty silly. The first one tried to be serious, but because of the technology and the age, you sort of laugh at it anyway. 2013 is the only one that was just like full solid horror.
Yeah.
This one, I just couldn't, there's something about it that I just can't reconcile. Like, I enjoy it, I like it, I think about it, but there's something that's off. There's just something there that's sort of like eating at me. I can't figure out what it is.
That's kind of where I am too. Like, I really want to see it again.
Yeah.
I'll definitely buy it when it comes out because I did enjoy it. But yeah, it's just like on paper, it's the perfect melding of the two, of horror and comedy. But there was just, it's like one thing that I can't put my finger on that kind of didn't fully do it for me. Like, I liked it, but it's not even like top 3 favorites in the Evil Dead franchise. Yeah,
like your initial comment to me via text was 2013 was a little bit better, even though you did enjoy the film. And I couldn't agree more. Like, like I enjoyed this. It was a good Evil Dead film. I will buy it. I will enjoy it. I will watch it again. Something about it is just not quite right with me yet. And I'll figure it out someday and I'll let you all know, but something is kind of bugging me. All right. Well, and what was your favorite part of this?
Fuck, that's a hard one, man. Like, because there's the laughing parts, like when Stephanie does her job and goes through the kid's head. That was one of those ones where it was a laugh, a very loud laugh, and people were looking at me. I don't know. If I'm not going with the scene, it's the makeup. The makeup was so fucking good. Like, especially the mom. Like, that was creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
And beautiful. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. She's an interesting looking person anyway. Like, she has very original facial features. And so just adding in prosthetics and stuff. And that, I think that might be my favorite part, is that you could tell when there were some digital effects and stuff, but for the most part, at least to me, it seemed practical all the way.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. And it was done so seamlessly and so well that you could easily just say, it doesn't matter. It could have been 3D. It could have been, fake or just fucking practical. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, and that's the perfect marriage of practical and CG is when you can't tell.
Yeah. I love this film for that specifically. Did you have a least favorite moment of this film?
Yeah, the first time I saw that kid's mullet. No, just kidding. The mullet was bad, but no, like, again, it's just me being a pretentious douchebag. Like, I think of it like if somebody touched one of my records like that, I'd break their fingers probably. And this kid finds these beautifully preserved records. Like, there's only one pressing, I'm assuming at least, from the 1920s, and he's just grubby ass fucking hands all over it. It's like he was just carrying pizza and shit, and so there's greasy, nasty hands.
Yeah.
It just like the whole way that was treated, and then the spinning, like that bugged the fuck out of me, and I feel like an asshole for saying it, but yeah, that really, really bothered me.
Yeah, I think my least favorite is just that I wasn't scared enough. I don't know. I expected the whole purpose of this to be just pure horror, like 2013's, and because it wasn't, I was a little bit let down. I didn't like the idea of two people getting away scot-free, but then I didn't want to see the little kid die, so I would have preferred the older sister to die so that we could just have the little girl be free. But can you imagine the fucking trauma that girl's going to suffer the rest of her fucking life?
Oh, yeah.
She will never be normal again.
No.
I mean, she wasn't normal in the first place. Let's be fair. But she was cool in the first place. She will never be cool again. That girl's fucked for life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to see these actors playing these characters in the future. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see a grown-up version of that little girl continuing the series on. I just don't need that personally, but I appreciated it for what it was in this. I think in the future, just stay away from the kids in this. I don't know. I don't like the idea of kids who never had a chance being murdered and turned into deadites. Give me teenagers, give me adults, and I'm good. But kids, something about it just... Maybe that's what it was. It was just sort of... It upset me a little bit. I was just like, they didn't have a chance. Like, fuck you, demon. What the fuck? There's so many deserving humans out there. Leave the fucking kids alone.
Well, plus it makes it kind of weird because they are... Like, the demons are fucking douchebags. They're raunchy douchebags. So there's a lot of sexual jokes and stuff like that, which you clearly can't do with children because that's wrong, and we all know that's wrong. Yeah. So it's like, I think if that was to happen again, like let's assume that they carry on with this franchise and they have children in it again, and it does that, it would just take everybody out.
Yeah.
Like, just be like, nope.
For sure. Yeah. There's like one distinct moment where I was just like, oh, you could have gone further here. It was when the daughter who had just turned was eating the glass goblet, and her legs were like perched up on the counter. For whatever reason, I thought it would have been appropriate in that moment, as soon as her aunt recognized her and was calling her name, if she just dropped a deuce. Like, in my head, I was just like, she's poised to poop. If she just pinched one off, it would have been great. First of all, it would have been disgusting, but it would have been the greatest moment of the whole fucking film.
That would have been hilarious. Yeah.
I just, like, she was like already poised for it. Just poop or something. But then, like, the second to that, like, you don't want to go that gross. Okay. I get it. What if I just have her pee? Like, in 2013, one of the greatest moments was when the woman couldn't control her own body, and she was so terrified she fucking urinated down her leg. And I don't enjoy seeing that, but there's something really powerful about seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, that is the epitome of terror.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot control your own bowels anymore. Like, yeah, that is the sign of pure terror.
So it would have been, now that you say that, though, because it wouldn't have made sense because she was already turned. She wasn't afraid. But I feel like that would have been a good...
Well, I feel like it still would have been pretty unnerving for the aunt because, like, this is a grown-ass kid that just piss themselves while they're sitting there eating glass. Like, which part's more disturbing?
I mean, it's very much like The Exorcist when Reagan comes down to the dinner party and just pees on the carpet saying you're all going to die. Like, yeah, it's just that moment. That's a really powerful, like, crazy fucking moment.
Yeah.
I didn't think the kids sold the Deadite thing very well. Again, it could just been the laughing, but for some reason I didn't believe them. And I also didn't really like so many Deadites all at once.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting getting like a swarm of them, because it's something we haven't really seen outside of Army of Darkness type shit. But yeah, it was a little weird having all of them.
Yeah,
and especially because they weren't as turned. Like usually when you're a Deadite, it's very exaggerated things, like your eyes are sunken in more, your teeth are just fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
They were all just kind of like, yeah, we're dead, but now we're back.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was, or just a culmination of everything. Anyway, I did enjoy it. I know I'm being critical, but I will definitely buy it. Like I want to watch it again. I want to watch some like bonus extras or something, like featurettes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Anything else you wanted to cover with this?
No, there really wasn't too much to the story. It's just nice wholesome family fun.
For sure. What rating would you give this?
I'd give it a solid 4. Okay. I would say a 5, but there, like we've been saying, there's just that one thing about it that isn't quite hitting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a solid 4.
Yeah, I'm going to echo that 100%. It's a great film. If you like Evil Dead, if you like horror in general, you should see it. But, if you want to be terrified, watch 2013. If you want to have a good old Evil Dead time, watch Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of how I landed. All right. Well, thank you all so very much for tuning in. As always, like it or not, that evil spelled backwards is live. So get your asses out there, buy a cheese grater, and cheese grate a motherfucker's leg.
Fuck yeah.
While being evil. Two solid deuces.